everyone, Lou here. You know, as a very girly girl, I can't help but love dress-up games and anime-based games. Can you blame me? I mean, look at my channel for crying out loud. So today, let's take a look at a game I fell in love with that checks both boxes. Infinity Nikki. Infinity Nikki is a game made by Paper Games and released December 5th, 2024 to quite the critical acclaim for both Gacha fans and cozy gamers. They're not a new company by any means, and neither is the character of Nikki, as this is part of a series, I think called just the Nikki games. There's Love Nikki, Shiny Nikki, Nikki Up to You, and Dress Up Nikki, all about the sparkly and fashion-fantastic adventures of Nikki. I'm very new to this franchise though, so I don't know if Infinity Nikki is a sequel, reboot, or like a Mario thing where every game is just a new story with existing characters. However, what makes this different from any other Nikki game is that this is fully 3D and an open world game with inspiration from Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy 15, and Genshin Impact. It's pretty much the biggest project for these Nikki games, though this game wasn't met without any criticisms. Some criticized it for not letting you play as a boy, despite the fact that this is an established franchise about a girl named Nikki, and the typical greedy gacha mechanics, but let's take a look for ourselves. You play as Nikki, an 18-ish-year-old fashion enthusiast, and her pet talking cat Momo, as they find a magical dress that isekai them into the magical modern fantasy-esque world of Miraland. Think like Eos in Final Fantasy 15, where it's fantasy with modern elements. Nikki meets some kind of goddess, or something like that, who tells her that she's been waiting for centuries for someone like her, as her kind heart will help save the world and grant true wishes. She then gives Nikki a magical heart thingy that lets her create magical outfits, and she needs to collect more to save the world from darkness. Meanwhile, she does side quests and other stuff to get you to know this world and help others. It's pretty simple, but it reminds me of a simple shoujo, and who doesn't love those? Nikki's also just really cute as a protagonist, and I think she speaks for herself a lot, and you're given very limited choices on where you actually have dialogue choices because Nikki is her own well-established character. That said, unlike Paimon, I actually really like Momo as our sassy little mouthpiece. Momo's voice is a lot lower than Paimon's and other sidekicks, so there's this less shrill voice, and it's a lot less irritating on the ears. Think Morgana if he wasn't telling you to go the fuck to sleep when you're trying to make a gosh damn lockpick for a mission tomorrow. The characters you meet are also pretty simple, at least so far in the beginning of the story. I have heard these Nikki games get really dark in their stories, but because this is so early on in the story, I haven't seen anything that's like super dark yet. It's also because the game's focus is on Nikki as a character as opposed to other gacha games where units are your focus instead of the main character. Still, the writing is cute. Is it cheesy because it's so glitter, whimsy, magical, and hopeful? Sure, but who doesn't love that? I mean, there's a reason that so many girls like me love Sailor Moon. Overall, I personally like the story so far. It's simple, maybe a little cheesy sometimes, but it's nice to have a game where it's about positivity and glitter. At least so far. Again, I know this series gets dark from what I've heard, but I really don't know if it's gonna take that direction. The gameplay is kind of all over the place that it's actually kind of hard to explain, but mainly it's because it's minigames, exploration, and a simplistic combat as to not overcomplicate itself. I know everyone keeps saying it's similar to Genshin, and I can see that to an extent, but personally I think this game is more like Final Fantasy 15 more than Genshin, especially the fishing minigame as it's borderline identical to the one in 15. The aesthetics too, and yeah, a mix of modern fantasy isn't anything new, but if you're a Final Fantasy fan, then you just kind of know when something is inspired by that, rather than a separate original idea. Like, I swear to you, a little fishing small town in the beginning really reminded me of villages in 15 in some areas. Speaking of, the graphics are very similar to Final Fantasy as well, as it's that semi-real adaptation of an anime art style. It makes a lot of the main characters look gorgeous, like Nanoi in particular is my favorite because you guys know I'm a sucker for characters with red hair and freckles. Add big round glasses on top of it and a nerdy personality. Oh my gosh, I am sold. I adore her. Giovanni is also my favorite just because I think he's so handsome and I wish I could self-insert ship myself with him, gosh damn it. And yes, I know about his character later, but I still ship it. However, side characters aren't that important and shop NPCs can look just a little uncanny. I think that's because they're more simple but realistic, so it makes them look a little creepy since they kind of have an empty stare. Some animation can also be a little bit stiff in some areas too, and I did encounter some glitchy animations where instead of walking away, a character will just kind of fling themselves back from their previous starting point. Another major glitch I encountered was during an interrogation cutscene where the characters just kind of refused to sit down, so they were basically T-posing during a dramatic moment, which kind of killed the mood. Then again, I played this game about 5 days after release, and this scene apparently worked perfectly in beta, so maybe there's just some hiccups that are bound to happen. I also did have some performance issues and clipping issues. The performance issues could just be me, just because this game is surprisingly graphics intensive, so it might be that my computer has a hiccup or there, or that it just struggles to keep up. Not really sure, but the clipping was a little funny. It's more like a glitch where the game didn't register sometimes that I was wearing high heels in some cutscenes, so sometimes Nikki would just kind of glitch to be more shorter because her feet were put in flats mode instead of heels mode. The same goes with some of the clothing. You can pretty much combo jackets with shirts or dresses, but some outfits noticeably clip. I was wearing a pair of shorts over a sleeve shirt, and the big gold button on the shorts kept clipping through. And something similar happened when I wore a jacket over a poofy or overly frilly dress, so not every outfit combos well with each other because of that. The physics on some bags can also go crazy if you're wearing a certain poofy dress too because of clipping issues. Speaking of, this game is in true magical girl fashion where certain activities and actions change your outfit. I think there will be more in the future, but for now, jumping, combat, petting animals, catching bugs, playing the violin, electrician work, fishing, and shrinking all have separate outfits. They're really cute or pretty, but it's a shame you can't customize your outfits in these situations. I mean, you kinda can if you have over a certain affinity to them, and then you can upgrade them to a recolor or get an outfit on the same banner that has that same ability, but personally, I would have liked to choose how each outfit looks. Could just be me who wants to make an outfit for every occasion though. A personal criticism for me though is just a lack of goth styles personally. I love goth, Jidaike, and gothic Lolita styles as much as pastel sparkly styles, so I personally would like to see some incorporations. You know, black Victorian dresses, spiky boots, darker makeup, and coffin bags, but that's just me personally. Of course, it's very likely later banners could add more gothic styles. Which, if it wasn't obvious enough, clothing is the gacha mechanic here. Every role on the standard banner or premium banners unlock a piece of clothing or accessory, which I personally think is pretty fair because you can still pull off some really cute looks and be entirely free to play. I only spent about 99 cents on 2 outfits in the beginning because I thought it was a good deal, but the game is super generous when you're first starting and have a fuck ton of welcome codes you can find online, so I think this game is pretty super free to play friendly. At least to me, it also vastly depends on your fashion style. If you want to look more like Tinkerbell, then you may want to roll on premium banners and bust out your debit card. But personally, I love J-fashion inspired looks, which is largely available for free players. Another thing is that there is some level of diversity too, because you can actually change Nikki's skin tone to better reflect you, which surprised me. Usually dress-up games like this never give skin tone options or darker skin tones than a piece of paper, so that was pleasantly surprising. Overall, I think the gameplay is super cozy, the style is gorgeous, and gacha mechanics are pretty fair in my eyes. I also couldn't help but pause the game every like 10 minutes to change my outfit just to fit a new adorable piece I found. I think I found a new gacha game to soak up my free time into. I'm not bored of Honkai Star Rail by any means, but I have been a little bored of Genshin lately as I found Natlan's story and events to be pretty lacking, so this has been a really great substitute for games where I want to explore but I don't really want to play Genshin because Natlan has been just kind of meh to me so far. I highly recommend Infinity Nikki to anyone who wants to try it. You can play Infinity Nikki on PlayStation 5, Android, Apple, and PC through the Epic Games Store. Not sure how the game runs on cell phones, but given how intensive it can be, maybe be prepared for your phone to burst into flames. Also, not sure about Mac or Nintendo Switch. I don't think it was announced for either, and I definitely doubt it'll be possible to run on the Switch given its capabilities. And I noticed the Switch doesn't typically like to have gacha games on there. That'll be it for this video though. You guys let me know down below what you think of Infinity Nikki. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I love it, but I'm super curious what you guys think down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. If any of you would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with all of my social media. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something, I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!